On this episode, I'm going to cover the top 5 things you need to know before moving to London, Ontario. Welcome back to the London Ontario Real Estate Podcast. My name is Phil Bailey. I'm a real estate agent in London, Ontario. I'm also host of the London Ontario Real Estate Podcast. And I get calls every single week from people that are thinking about making a move. Some are coming from the GTA, some back to Canada from a different country, some from smaller towns. Lots just moving within the city. And many are wondering where they should move within the city and really what they need to know about London. So this episode is specifically from someone who is a real estate agent and also is raising my family in London, Ontario. Born here, lived here for many, many, many years. And I think I know a few things about London and things that sometimes can get under my skin a little bit, and other things that I think everyone should just know before making the moves, because I think there's a lot of myths still out there. So let's get into it. Number one, and this is something that's going to cause some controversy, I'm sure, but my thing is that number one, east of Adelaide is outdated advice. And what I mean by that is if you read on Facebook groups or Reddit or different things, you're going to find that some people talk about don't buy east of Adelaide in any case. And to me, in 2026, that's really outdated thinking. I think in many times people think of east of Adelaide as like right downtown or closer to downtown. And I think that they're concerned about, some of the, social things that we do have going on in London really close to the downtown. And some people like living there, right? So it really depends. But what I'm finding is that the east of Adelaide is really outdated because you have places now like Stony Creek, Cedar Hollow, Summers, lots of places on really far out from the core that are just suburban areas. Some neighborhoods have been there since, the 50s that I've sold houses in. And I think there's just this really way of thinking where people are judging the neighborhood before they even see it, especially people that are from out of town. So, the point is don't judge an entire half of the city based on something someone told you 20 years ago or someone on Facebook group has told you. Talk to people who actually are working in the market every single day and, explore the neighborhood. What I always say to people is go see the house at night, go see it in the morning, go see it at lunch, see what the traffic's like. I've had clients do this recently with schools, right? When the school gets out, how busy is it going to be? Is it going to be hard to get to your driveway? And those are in, more suburban kind of neighborhoods that people really like. Number 2 on the list is buy a neighborhood before you buy a house in London. And I think what I'm seeing a lot is that people come to London from other areas, maybe the GTA, for example. And I'm not picking on the GTA, but I do see this quite a bit. And they think, well, I'm in London. And London is a city of neighborhoods, just like most cities are. But we have over 500,000 people now. We've grown tremendously over the last few years. And London isn't just London. There's different neighborhoods that we have to think about. So when you're looking through listings, and maybe we even start looking at listings, it's really easy to fall in love with a house, a beautiful backyard, a finished basement. But what does your life actually look like once you move into that home? For my family, a lot of the, weekend, I'm obviously working because I'm a real estate agent, but when I'm not, I want to hang out with my family, maybe go to a park, maybe go for a walk, maybe go to, as you know, on the podcast, go to a craft brewery sometimes, grab some ice cream, go to the playground. Like all these things matter to me. I also play tennis, so I want to be kind of close to maybe a park or close to where I, can play tennis. I like restaurants sometimes, right? But I don't need to be in the thick of it, right? So there's just different things that matter a heck of a lot more than the, quartz or granite countertops, right? So think about where you're going to go grocery shopping, where your kid's going to go to school, how long you're going to spend commuting. That's a big one in London. I think it's, brings me to point number 3 here. And number 3 on the list is London is bigger than most people think, especially when you're moving from a larger place, I think, to London. You will have some driving to do. And we all know that right now, if you live in London, you have a lot of construction to deal with. So when you're moving here, don't think of it as just a smaller town that it's really easy to get around everywhere. It can take me, from one side of the city, because I've done this, to the other side of the city. Yeah, I can take like 45 minutes, maybe even more. Right now, probably more like an hour. It took me way longer than that this morning because there was a road closed that I didn't realize was closed, and maybe I should do my research more on that stuff. So I think when people move here, they have to focus on finding, the biggest house in their budget, but you really do think about what's the right decision for not just the neighborhood, but also when you're driving around really a really long time to get somewhere because it's bigger than you think. You have to be, careful. So I would think about, where are you spending your most time? Work, probably, school, if you have kids, maybe sports, family stuff, friends. Maybe you are lucky enough to have, grandparents in town or something if you have a young kid. And it's just nice to be able to be close to them. But just realize that, like, being in London, and again, I know people from the GTA are going to make fun of me for this, but you're not going to be in traffic that's going to take you probably like 2.5 hours, right? And you're not going to do that commute every day. But there are times where it just takes you a little bit longer to get somewhere because it's a bigger place. And then again, there's a bigger place with lots of neighborhoods within it. Number four is that students have a much bigger impact in the city that you might expect. And I am a graduate of both Western University and I did a marketing program at Fanshawe as well after I got my degree. And when students come to this city, it changes the city. And what I mean by that is I think there's about 60,000 students between the two schools or something like that, based on my research. And that's a huge part of the city's population, right? So that's like more than 1/10 of the population, likely. And so what happens is that in September, when most of those programs start at Fanshawe or Western, you have an influx of new people that come into the city. So you notice it in traffic, you notice it in the restaurants, the coffee shops, the gym, the public transit, the rental market, right? We are obviously not having the same influx of international students that we were in London before because of the rule changes, especially I think at the college level. But what I'm still seeing is the energy of the city just changes once the students come back. And when the students leave, the energy changes again, right? My commute sometimes is a little bit easier. And that's not just from post-secondary students, but also just having no school buses and people going on vacation. So if you're buying a home, I'd consider this. So if you're looking in July in, let's pick a place, Old North, for example, in certain areas, you might want to consider, okay, what are those places going to be like when the students do come back, right? Because if you're by Fanshawe, for example, and it's very quiet at certain times of the year because the students aren't there, and then you might be surprised when the students do come back. And this can be good, good for a lot of people as well, because it means that all these students are coming to town, they're eating in the restaurants, they're buying the groceries, they're spurring our economy. Like, this is fantastic for the city, in my opinion. But you just want to know, where in the city you're going to want to live and how that's going to impact things during the course of the year. And honestly, if you're going to move to London, you better be okay with some of it, right? Because students, again, are a huge point of why this city is really doing, I think, as well as it has over the last decades. And I think that influx of investment in those students in the city, you can just see it, right? So again, consider that how much of the students do impact the city in London from Fanshawe and from Western. Number five on the list is the last point I'm going to make, and that London isn't boring, but you have to go and look for the fun. And maybe at this course in my life, I'm a little older now. I don't like to stay out till 2 a.m. very often, but I like boring sometimes, right? But boring to me still means that I can still go, hang out with my friends, go to a barbecue, go to a craft brewery, go play tennis, go to a festival, all these things, right? So in my opinion, London isn't boring, but it's not going to be as in your face, maybe all these events that you might see in certain other areas. So you have to do your research. Some of my favorite resources, I do look on Reddit for events, Facebook for events. There's a great Instagram account that I think they actually have a podcast as well. London's Pretty Cool. Awesome content there. So they post London is cool. It's not boring. They post a lot of great content about different events that are coming up. I mean, we have the Canada Life Center, I think it's called Canada Life Place. It's been called so many things since I've been here back to JLC days is what I'm thinking of right now. But when you go there, I mean, you're getting lots of great bands coming through. I saw Noah Kahan play there. I have recently seen a Dashboard Confessional, the Goo Goo Dolls play there. So you have like a pretty, I'd say more, not huge market there, but I mean, you have a mid-market or upper mid-market there, I think, for bands that are coming through town. Super excited to go see some other great music coming up really soon. Rock the Park starting. So you can find all these things, but it really depends on what you like. So what I always ask my clients that are moving in is like, well, what do you actually like? Right? Like, I don't enjoy going to a super fancy restaurant, but I still like a nice restaurant with good craft beer, good options, great service, all those types of things. So, I've liked many places in London, and some of them are sadly not here anymore, but a lot of them did survive the COVID thing. And I think we should support local as much as we can. So, there's festivals going on. And then the other thing was cool about London as well is that you're just a short drive from big places or other fun places. You can go to Grand Bend or you can go to Port Stanley for the beach in the summer. You can spend a lot of time in places like I recently went to Paris, Ontario. That place is pretty cool. I can tell everyone I went to Paris. There's also other places around like Stratford, great plays there. You have the Stratford Festival, of course. And then, if you really want to, you can go to the GTA to go see a really big band that's probably not going to play in London, or go see a big production that you're not going to see here. Of course, you can go to Detroit as well, or somewhere else on the state side if you want to. I'm not doing a lot of that right now, given certain things that are going on in the world, but I have been, and I think it's Detroit's a really cool place as well. So there's lots of cool things right around London. I mean, the other thing I would say as my last point on that is, like, if you do like to travel, you do have like Toronto Airport, London Airport, which I heard a rumor that Porter's going to be flying out of London Airport. Not sure where. That'd be kind of cool. Or you just go to Detroit, right? And you can go to Hamilton as well. So there's lots of options around. So it's like we're kind of in a place where it can have a reputation sometimes of being boring compared to different areas. Obviously, I'm thinking more of Toronto or something. Yeah, we have less stuff, we have less population, but there's a lot of cool people here that have come from various places around the world. Opened great restaurants, people that are coming from different areas of Canada, and that people have lived here their whole lives and are just amazing people to spend time with. And I think having also a influx of students coming here as well, and university and college students, you do get some new perspectives on something. So that's pretty cool. So my final thoughts, those are my top 5 list. I'm going to have probably more than that on a future episode, because I think there's a lot of things about London that you should know before moving here. But at the end of the day, moving isn't just about finding the right house. You have to think about how are you going to build that life within that neighborhood. Again, London isn't just London. There's different neighborhoods. So, for my family, London's been just a really great place to live. It's not too big, not too small. It's got everything I need here. I don't need to leave, but sometimes, I do get out sometimes. I know we've got some great parks, some great schools. I did an episode on some of the schools that we have to think about in London. My daughter will be starting school very shortly. Is London perfect? Absolutely not. We have, social issues just like many cities do in Ontario and Canada and the world. But, if you're looking for a place to just build maybe a simpler life in some ways, if you can, get a great job here, obviously the money goes a lot further than it does in somewhere like Toronto. I think London deserves to be on the list. I think you should consider it. If you're thinking about making a move and you do have questions about neighborhoods or schools or the real estate market, and you want to learn from someone who is actually born here and knows a lot about this city, from selling real estate all over it, just give me a call. My name's Phil Bailey. I'm a real estate agent with HouseSigma in London. I'll be doing future episodes of the podcast. My number directly, 226-977-2348. You can just text me there and we can set up time to chat, or you can always just go to my website and contact me through there. It's pretty simple, www.philbailey. And if you enjoyed the episode, just make sure you subscribe to it and leave a review if you can. It does help kind of get out the name to other people that are in the area. I'm obviously not a massive podcast here, given that I cater just to London, Ontario real estate. But I do think that this stuff is helpful, and I've been getting a lot of nice comments on it over the years. So thank you so much for listening to the London, Ontario Real Estate Podcast. My name's Phil Bailey. I'm a real estate agent right here in London. Message me if you have any questions about real estate, or you have other things you think I should add to the list for a future episode. Have a great day. Take care.